Hello, I'm a guy that likes to talk about music and the music of my youth. And today I want to talk about Kiss. Blah. Ah. And actually, in particular, I want to talk about the song Rocket Ride. She wants a rocket ride. Na, 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 na. This was released as a single in 1978. And it was written and sung by Ace Frehley, aka the Spaceman, aka Space Ace. And most of the time Paul Stanley did the lead vocals, and sometimes Gene Simmons did the lead vocals too. But there were a few times when Ace Frehley did the lead vocals, along with playing the lead guitar. And this was on the Alive 2 album. I had that on vinyl when I was a kid, and it was a double album, but only sides 1, 2, and 3 were actually live. The side 4 was the studio recordings, original studio recordings, and this was one of those songs. And it took me a long time to figure out what this song was about. I mean, really about. See, I loved Kiss when I was a kid, but I was a boy who liked monsters and superheroes and science fiction. And that's what Kiss looked like. They looked like monsters or superheroes or people from outer space. So I assume that some of their songs were about that kind of stuff. I mean, I knew some of the songs were obviously about girls, like Christine, 16. However, like that album had a song called God of Thunder. God of Thunder, which I figured that was about Thor, the mighty Thor from the Marvel Comics. And they had a song called King of the Nighttime World that I really liked. And I figured that was a song about Dracula. Doesn't King of the Nighttime World, doesn't that sound like something you'd call Count Dracula? And the Dynasty album had this song called X-Ray Eyes. Well, that was obviously about Superman because who else has X-ray eyes? And I figured that Rocket Ride was about, a rocket ride. I figured it was about space. I figured it was about Ace being the space ace. And he flew around space like Buck Rogers or something. And then he'd come to Earth, when he had to play with a band. He'd come back to Earth when it was showtime. And then when the show was over, he flew back into space. But this song is about someone wanting to take a rocket ride. But that still made sense to me because, I figured there'd be fans who would, come to the show and then, met him later on when he was getting ready to leave. And, like maybe he had his rocket ship parked in the parking lot or something. And people would ask him for a ride. I mean, of course they would. Who wouldn't want a rocket ride, I would have. I would have asked Ace Frehley if he would have given me a rocket ride. As I got a little bit older, I began thinking about the song a little bit differently, but even then, I pictured it being about a guy and a girl at an amusement park. They're at an amusement park or the county fair. And parks and fairs have rides called the Rocket. So I figured, I pictured a guy and a girl being together and walking around the rides, and the girl wanted to ride the rocket ride, Okay, after we ride the Tilt-A-Whirl, we get to ride the rocket ride. And why not have such a song? I mean, I really liked amusement parks and fairs. And plus, I knew from Archie comics that often when a guy and a girl go out on a date, they'll go to an amusement park. And boy, I was really looking forward to that too. Like I said, I really loved amusement parks. And so I figured that someday in the future, I would get to go to an amusement park with a girl. Oh, that would be so cool. So of course, that's what I pictured when I listened to that song. And again, why not have a song about a guy and a girl out on a date at an amusement park? But then I got even older and I realized something. This song was naughty. Ace was naughty. Kiss were naughty. Oh, they didn't really like monsters or comic books or science fiction and nothing like. No, they just like girls. Yeah, Rocket Ride was not about space travel. It was not about amusement park rides. So then I had to wonder, about their other songs. What was a love gun, actually? What was Love Gun about? What do they mean when they were going to shoot you with a love gun? And why were they wanting to meet someone in the ladies' room? Boys weren't allowed in the ladies' room. Kiss were naughty. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Anyway, thanks for the memories, Mr. Frehley. May you rest in peace, and I hope you're in a better place. Wonder if you can ride a rocket to heaven.